For literal decades, sponsors in Mario Kart was a world you could so easily miss was even a thing. After all, who has time to look at advertisements while racing? I'm positive most of you guys have first come into contact with the many brands and sponsors of the in-universe Mario Kart Grand Prix with Mario Kart World, which uses their logos and symbols as the basis of a ton of stickers. But not only has this been a thing since Mario Kart 64, it also has a ton of hidden little details, lore and especially world building behind it that you might have completely missed. And while that latter category is definitely more prevalent in the two most recent games, Mario Kart 8 and World, I do want to start with Mario Kart 64 to show you how the use of sponsors has changed over the course of the series, because it's actually quite interesting. Because, as you may have noticed, in Mario Kart World, all these companies are linked to and based on characters or enemies in some way, which was not really the case in Mario Kart 64 at all. Instead, this game's sponsors were based on the ones commonly seen in Formula 1 during the 90s. Goodyear became Koopa Air, A-Jip became Louis Jip, Marlboro became Marioro, and Mobile One became Yoshi One. Now, if you're thinking, why have I never seen this before? That's probably because you played the Western version of Mario Kart 64, which changed these logos out of fear of copyright infringement. In the Japanese version though, all these brands are parodies or references to real-life racing sponsors. Starting in Mario Kart Double Dash, that would change however. Gone were the nods and references, and instead a whole slew of original brands were introduced that presumably are all active in the Mario world. The only one that still references a real-life logo is this one, belonging to a company called Mario Kart, whose logo resembles Nintendo's. Generally speaking, the names of the sponsors here are not exactly at their most creative yet. Mario Kart is already a great example of that, but what to think of sponsors like Yoshi Yoshi, Big Fire, Super Mushroom, Sherbet, and just straight up Princess Daisy. More interesting is the fact that seemingly both Luigi and Waluigi dabble in the oil business, as both have their name attached to an oil company. Wario has lent its name to a Wario pharmacy, which I would never trust to get my meds from, and the inclusion of Moo Moo Farm as a sponsor, which is nothing special nowadays, with the cow nearly becoming a sort of mascot for the series, but you have to remember Moo Moo Farm doesn't appear in Double Dash whatsoever, making this a straight up callback to the Mario Kart 64 track. This game also introduced the most prevalent sponsor of the entire series. Sunshine Parts is presumably the company behind the parts of the many vehicles of the series, with a logo proudly displaying a Shine Sprite on it, and it has appeared as a sponsor in every single game from Double Dash to Tour. Mario Kart World is the first to admit it since it was introduced, which is honestly kinda surprising, seeing how many stickers this game has. You'd think that you could use every logo you could get, but apparently that didn't stop Nintendo from cutting an OG. Since Mario Kart DS has a lower graphical fidelity than Double Dash, significantly less sponsors were introduced on the handheld, a meager 5. And for now, their names continue to be quite nondescript. What to think of Dangerous and Fresh? The only one worth highlighting I'd say is Waluigi Sport, implying that he has now opened or sold his image rights to a sports company. This sponsor would only return in Mario Kart 7 and has as such never appeared on a home console game. In Mario Kart Wii, this series would begin to dabble more and more into more creative and unique brand names and sponsors. You still had some companies that make you think, how is this a brand name, like Phases, Aquarium and Yoshi, but even with those simple names, some interesting stuff can be done. For example, one museum, apparently just named Gallery, has an exhibition on what I presume are Mario enemies running near Moonview Highway. We also have ads for Toad's Factory plastered around, revealing that occasionally this site just goes by Factory. And we learn that Coconut Mall may be run by a company called Coco, and several stores inside contain this brand name. You've got Coco Burgers, Coco Coffee, Coco Outfitters, and even Coco Pet Food. Coconut Cafe, also found in Coconut Mall, appears to have expanded quite a bit since the Wii days, since while in Mario Kart Wii its ad can only be found in Coconut Mall itself, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe it is included in a whopping 13 courses, with an actual physical cafe even being present in Los Angeles labs. I don't know who owns the marketing rights of the Fire Flower, but whoever it is truly playing both sides here, as both the Fire Flower Oil Company and Green Fuel use Fire Flowers prominently in their marketing and/or name. We've recently seen in Princess Peach Showtime that the Mushroom Kingdom Royal likes to visit or even star in a play once in a while, but anyone with a keen eye has known that since the Wii days. An advertisement for a musical called The Mushroom Moon can be seen, which apparently stars Mario, Peach and Yoshi. Did you happen to recognize the font used here? It's the same one as is frequently used in Pikmin. I also have to highlight a sponsor known as Tropical Bakery here. While there is really no interesting logo or anything to be found, it is, as far as I'm aware, the first sponsor in the entire Mario Kart series to appear outside of a Mario Kart game. In Yoshi's Crafted World, signs for it can be spotted in the level Go Go Yoshi, seemingly confirming that yes, these companies really exist out there in the grand and confusing Mario universe. That's very handy information to know as we look at Mario Kart 7, which reuses a ton of sponsors from Double Dash and Wii and only introduces 16 new ones. The large number of sports brands here is definitely worth pointing out. We've got iHeart Sports, Water Sports, Cross Country Cycling, Bullseye, Perfect Game, and several using bowling terms or themes. This doesn't really seem to reflect the sudden increase of gym activity in the Mushroom Kingdom though, as all these sponsors are exclusively found on the Woohoo Island courses. A company that did leave quite a mark in the actual Mushroom Kingdom though is an oil brand known as Mario Kart. It has appeared in every single game since 7 until, again, World Cut It, has even appeared on official artwork and has made cameos in the Super Smash Bros. Series on the Mario Circuit stage. But it isn't until we get to Mario Kart 8 that the list of sponsors truly explodes. Not only are a ton brought back from past games, this title introduces nearly 80 new brands. And gone are the days of random words used as brand names. Almost every single company now specifically references one or multiple characters, making them feel way more ingrained into the Mario world. And this is a practice that has continued in Tour and World as well, as I'm sure you've noticed if you've been watching your stickers. This is also the first game to introduce companies that actually survived the jump to World. Names like 1UP Fuel, Mushroom Piston, and Peach and Daisy Royal Patisserie are still present in World as well. When we look at what the main cast has been up to outside of the responsibilities we see in-game, we find that Donkey Kong endorses a drink called Burning DK, all Koopalings have their own business ventures now, Dolphins apparently run a diving shop known as Super Marine World, a nod to their origin game Super Mario World, and Peach, Daisy, Birdo, Toadette, Rosalina and Wendy apparently work together to further the advancements of women in racing, as members of the Women in Racing organization. Maybe they're the ones who invited Pauline. Also worth pointing out is the growing list of brands that have appeared outside of Mario Kart. Galaxy Air, Boomerang Bros International Airlines, Bowser Oil, Bullet Bill Speed Trial, Green Shell Taxi, Mario Work Gear, Red Shell Strike Equipment, and the Rainbow Exploration Agency all appear in Super Mario Odyssey, with their logos visible as patches on either Mario's racer or mechanic outfits. Fuzzy Batteries even appear in Mario Odyssey in this manner, and Yoshi's Crafted World in a similar way to Tropical Bakery. By the way, the Rainbow Space Exploration Agency, or REXA for short, is the first sponsor to be a reference to a real-life organization since Mario Kart 64. This name is a nod to JAXA, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, basically Japan's equivalent of NASA. Several other companies also reference things outside of Mario, but they're less exciting than the Mushroom Kingdom equivalent of Marlboro. All sponsors that appear in Urgent Underpass, the battle map based on Splatoon, are actually from Splatoon. These include the Octopus Oil Company, Squid Force, Takoroka, Tentatech, Zeko, Krakon, Forge, Firefin, Express, Custom and Arrow. The other crossover series, so The Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing and F-Zero, don't have any nods whatsoever. Before we finally land at Mario Kart World, I do want to briefly take a look at Mario Kart Tour, which mostly copied what already existed, but a solid 30 or so sponsors did make their debut here, and there are some very interesting ones included. What to think of several more musicals to follow up the apparent success of the Mushroom Moon as seen in Mario Kart Wii. You've got Chase, Mario's Adventure, which apparently retells the story we know so well, although Donkey Kong has never really played a role in any of the mainline games, so I guess it's not an exact retelling. But maybe he was included after the success of Donkey Kong, the best musical. He was, however, correctly I would say, left out of the Mushroom Kingdom musical, which has a long cast list and seems to confirm that while New Donk City and Pauline are from the Mushroom Kingdom, DK is not. And should you be wondering, all these musicals are seemingly made by the Broadway Entertainment Company as seen on this ad. In the further entertainment sphere, we also have the two Kung Fu Lakitu movies. The first was seen in Dragon Driftway, so Mario Kart 8, and was seemingly such a success that a sequel is soon to be released called Kung Fu Master Lakitu. Also introduced in tour is an advertisement from a company known as B-Dash, which is apparently behind the car the B-Dasher, which debuted in DS and has recently returned in Mario Kart World. This brand could perhaps be a subsidiary or related in some way to Mario Motors, which has quite similar branding. And finally, before we get to World, I do feel I have to point out that Mario Kart Tour is truly the first game since 64 to reference a real-life company. JAXA is a real-world thing, but it's not a company in the traditional sense, which means that Sparkling, which appears in Madrid Drive, is truly the first since 64. This name is a reference to Schweppes, an alcohol brand whose logo is prominently featured on the Edificio Capitol, a landmark from real-life Madrid. And then, it is finally World time. Although, plenty of the brands I've covered in the last 5 minutes are also in Mario Kart World, so we kinda have already started. World still introduces more than 90 companies for us to sift through though, so there's plenty of interesting stuff left to cover. What immediately stands out is how many enemies suddenly have their own brands and companies. Apparently being playable on the roster is great for your brand image. Charge and Chuck Monster Trucks, Spike Express, Swoop Car Interior Shop, Sting Bee Biofuel, Para Biddy Bud Construction. It's getting a little out of hand. I mean, how is a Biddy Bud supposed to do construction? It doesn't even have hands. And hell, even enemies that aren't playable apparently run their own businesses now, like Muncher Coffee Roaster, Magmark Diner, Bully Steel, Garol Metal, and Batadon Aero Parts. Or maybe these companies were just named after them. Puma isn't run by an actual Puma either after all. Anyway, the main cast also hasn't been sitting around idly though, and has found new ways to make some cash. Waluigi Vintage Clothing feels like a hit, Rosalina Bus Stores is a little more odd, I would argue, Peach Resort is apparently the company behind the redesign of Peach Beach, and I doubt you've missed the introduction of Boo Cinema. Here we can find 3 new movies on display. The Adventures of Toad seems to be a retelling of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Peach Deep Forest Explorer shows that the princess still hasn't retired from her acting gigs, and Lakitu the Fisherman might be a sequel or a spin-off of the Kung Fu Lakitu series, or Lakitu are somehow movie stars in the Mushroom Kingdom. A company that really has me divided on whether this is an awesome nod or so close yet so far is Wario Games. The logo of this company are the Wario noses seen in WarioWare Touched, and it's quite clear this company is based on WarioWare Incorporated, which is cool. People have wanted more WarioWare references in the Mario games for so long. But would it really have hurt them to just call this company WarioWare Incorporated? It does kinda make it feel almost accidental now, even if we all know it isn't. What is definitely coincidental though is the introduction of Koopa Hotel. This company sort of already existed, as it was the name of Bowser's hotels in the classic Hotel Mario. Which means Mario Kart World has a reference to Hotel Mario in it. Koopas are also apparently responsible for just about the entire construction of the Mushroom Kingdom, with their aptly titled company Koopa Construction. Their ads include things they've built, like plenty of Toad's houses, the bridge to Crown City, and the entirety of DK Spaceport. It makes them feel like a company we might see more of in the future. Their resume is quite impressive. But if I had to put my money on seeing any of these companies again, the answer would of course be Yoshi's, the fast food chain that supplies us with the dash food we need to switch our outfits. But if you thought that meant they had a monopoly on the restaurant industry of the Mushroom Kingdom, I'm sorry to say you're wrong. Fireflower Diner is found around Crown City, we see ads for a fried chicken brand as well, and the Yoshi's at Sky High Sundae appears to be a collaboration with a brand called Toadette Ice Cream. And finally, I want to end with my favorite. One of the ads in the game that feels a little too real and has nothing to do with the Mario world whatsoever. Apparently, even in the Mushroom Kingdom, tenants are wanted. They even added the little slogan, "Let's make your dreams come true," to entice you to rent a home in Crown City. And that's all I have for you today. Which sponsors have caught your eye over the course of the series? And what's your favorite sticker in Mario Kart World? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all my future Mario content coming up. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.